Have you ever noticed how big goals often fade, but small habits stick? That's the secret Nick Vujicic shares. True change doesn't come from chasing massive dreams. It comes from the little actions you repeat every day. On Motivation Vault, this message is clear: small habits build discipline, reshape identity, and create unstoppable momentum. Big goals may inspire you, but it's the daily habits that transform you. Stay till the end and you'll see why your future begins with the step you take today. Have you ever wondered why most people start with huge dreams but end up giving up halfway? Why is it that we set massive goals at the start of the year, yet by the second month we feel exhausted, lost, and disappointed in ourselves? The truth is, it's not because we lack strength, intelligence, or even discipline. It's because the way we chase our goals is broken. We try to climb the mountain in one giant leap, forgetting that the mountain is conquered one step at a time. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you told yourself, this year I'll completely transform my life? You wanted to lose all the weight, start a business, write a book, or change everything overnight. In the beginning, it feels powerful, almost like magic. But soon the excitement fades. What's left is pressure, fear, and frustration. Psychology tells us that when the brain sees something too big, too far, or too overwhelming, it panics, it resists, it creates doubt. And slowly, we lose the fire we started with. But here's the secret: success isn't about doing everything at once. Success belongs to those who understand the hidden power of small habits. Habits that look almost invisible to the outside world. Habits so small they often go unnoticed. But over time, they carve new pathways in the brain, building strength, discipline, and identity without you even realizing it. Imagine replacing one big, heavy goal with one small action done daily. That's how real transformation begins. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll uncover the exact truth that so many successful people already know: that greatness doesn't come from sudden explosions of effort, but from consistent drops of discipline. Drops that seem small but are powerful enough to break through stone. And by the end, you'll carry with you not just motivation, but a strategy you can use to change your life starting today. So ask yourself now, you ready to stop chasing big, unrealistic leaps and start building a future with small, unstoppable steps? If your answer is yes, then keep listening, because what you're about to hear might just shift the way you see success forever. When you focus only on big goals, your mind often feels crushed under the weight of expectation. You wake up thinking about how far you have to go, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel stuck. That's because your brain's wired to seek progress, not perfection. It thrives on small victories. Every time you achieve something minor, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward, of encouragement. That tiny spark makes you feel good, and it pushes you to repeat the action. Slowly, your identity begins to shift. You stop saying, I want to be disciplined, and start believing, I am disciplined. That's the invisible power of small habits. Think about brushing your teeth. It's such a tiny act, almost automatic, but it defines your hygiene and health over decades. Nobody claps when you brush your teeth, yet the consistency shapes who you are. The same rule applies to your dreams. Small actions done daily may look ordinary, but the compounding effect is extraordinary. Reading 5 pages a day becomes a library of wisdom over time. Writing just 1 paragraph each night becomes a finished book in months. Saving a small amount every week builds a foundation of financial freedom. The secret is this: big goals inspire you, but small habits transform you. Goals give direction, but habits create momentum. Without habits, goals remain wishes, floating in your imagination. With habits, even the tallest mountains feel possible, because you're not climbing them in one exhausting leap. You're taking steady, deliberate steps. So stop waiting for the perfect day to make a massive change. Start with something small today, something you can repeat tomorrow and the day after. That is how you build an unstoppable future, one habit at a time. The human brain is a pattern-seeking machine. Whatever you repeat, it records. Whatever you practice, it strengthens. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself based on your actions. Every small habit you perform is like carving a path in your mind. At first, the path feels rough, unclear, and difficult to walk, but with repetition, it becomes smoother, wider, and automatic. Soon, you don't have to force yourself anymore. because the habit has already taken root. This is why small habits hold such incredible power. They bypass resistance. When you tell yourself you must radically change overnight, fear and doubt rise up. The challenge feels too heavy and your brain retreats. But when you choose something small, something almost too easy to fail, your brain accepts it. Step by step, you win trust with yourself. And when you keep your own promises, you unlock self-respect. That is the foundation of confidence. Big goals can sometimes trick you into believing that life will only matter when you achieve them. But psychology teaches us that fulfillment is not found only at the finish line. It is experienced in the daily progress toward it. Small habits give you that gift every single day. They remind you that you are moving forward. Even if the world doesn't notice yet, they keep you focused, steady, and resilient. And here lies the truth most people overlook. Transformation does not come from one giant act of willpower, but from countless small decisions made consistently. Each choice is a brick. Each habit is a seed. Over time, those bricks build a fortress of strength, and those seeds grow into a life you once only dreamed of. That is how greatness is born, not in leaps, but in steady steps forward. Think about the power of momentum. Once a small action is repeated enough times, it begins to create energy of its own. That energy pulls you forward, even on days when motivation feels low. Psychologists call this the compound effect. Just as a single drop of water doesn't seem powerful, but thousands of drops can carve stone, your daily habits silently shape your destiny. What feels insignificant today becomes unstoppable tomorrow. The secret is consistency. Not perfection, not giant leaps, but steady movement in the same direction. Every time you choose to follow through on a small habit, you prove to your brain that change is possible. That proof builds belief. And belief is the fuel of achievement. Without belief, even the greatest goals collapse. With belief, even the smallest habit can grow into transformation. But here's where most people fail. They underestimate the invisible progress happening underneath the surface. When results don't show immediately, they quit. Yet psychology shows us that real change follows the valley of disappointment. For a long time, it feels like nothing is working. Then suddenly, growth explodes all at once. Like a bamboo tree that takes years to break through the soil, but grows over 80 feet in a single sea. Your small habits are billboards that no one can see until the breakthrough comes. So don't despise the small steps. Don't dismiss the quiet progress. Every repetition is like striking a stone with a hammer. The first blow doesn't break it, neither does the 10th. But keep going, and eventually, one strike will shatter it completely. And when that moment comes, it won't be because of just one strike. It will be because of every strike that came before. That is the real power of small habits. They prepare you for the day your life cracks open into something greater. Now let's talk about the battle inside your own mind. Every time you try to build a new habit, there are two voices competing for your attention. One whispers, "It's too small. It doesn't matter." The other says, "Keep going. This will change everything." Which voice you listen to determines your future. Human psychology proves that the brain is wired for comfort. It loves the familiar, even if the familiar is destroying you. That's why creating new habits feels uncomfortable at first. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is fighting to stay in its old patterns. But here's the truth. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's the signal that growth is happening. Think of it like training a muscle. At first, the weight feels heavy. Your arms shake. But over time, the muscle adapts and grows stronger. Habits work the same way. The early resistance is simply your mind stretching beyond what it knows. The more you embrace the discomfort, the more powerful your transformation becomes. And here's the beautiful part. Once your brain accepts the new habit as normal, it stops feeling like effort. What was once difficult becomes automatic. Just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes, the action no longer drains your energy. It becomes part of who you are. That's when real freedom begins, because you no longer have to push yourself every single day. The habit carries you. So remember this. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the reward of consistency lasts a lifetime. Every small act of discipline rewires your brain, builds resilience, and shapes a future you can be proud of. If you can win the battle of today, you unlock the strength to win tomorrow. And that is how small habits silently overpower the biggest goals. If you've ever wondered why some people achieve extraordinary things while others stay stuck in the same place for years, the answer is often hidden in one word: consistency. Success is not about doing something once with massive effort. It's about doing something small over and over until it becomes unstoppable momentum. Think about it. A single drop of water seems powerless, but when it keeps falling on stone, even the hardest surface begins to crack. That is the quiet strength of small, repeated actions. The human brain craves patterns. It thrives on routines. Psychology teaches us that habits are formed through repetition because every action strengthens a pathway in the brain. The more you repeat, the stronger the pathway becomes, until eventually it takes more effort not to do the habit than to do it. That's why consistent small habits outperform even the biggest, most impressive goals. Big goals rely on bursts of motivation, but consistency builds unshakable momentum. Motivation fades, but habits sustain you. Consider this: if you start reading for just 10 minutes a day, in a year you will have absorbed wisdom from multiple books. If you save a small amount of money daily, in time it grows into financial security. If you focus on one kindness every day, your relationships transform. None of these changes look dramatic in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, they create results that feel almost impossible to imagine. And here's the deeper truth: consistency builds identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are disciplined, strong, and capable. That belief becomes your foundation. It is not just what you do that changes you, but who you become in the process. And once you build the identity of someone who never quits, no setback, no failure, no storm can take that away. When you understand the power of consistency, you begin to see that small habits are more than actions. They are investments in your future. Every choice you make is like planting a seed. The results don't show up right away, but given time, those seeds grow into trees that bear fruit. The tragedy is that most people quit before they see the harvest. They dig up their seeds because they get impatient, forgetting that growth happens beneath the surface before it appears above ground. This is why discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation is like a spark. It can start the fire, but it cannot keep it burning. Discipline is the wood that sustains the flame. When you rely only on motivation, you will burn out quickly. But when you rely on discipline, you create a steady force that carries you forward, even on the days you don't feel like moving. The psychology behind this is simple. The brain adapts to repetition, and when you push yourself to follow through, you train your mind to value progress over excuses. Think of it this way: no one becomes strong after lifting weights once. No one becomes wise after reading a single book. No one transforms their life by making one decision. Change is not a single event. It is a series of small steps that compound over time. The great mistake is believing that big breakthroughs come from one dramatic moment. The truth is, they come from the accumulation of tiny, consistent actions stacked top of each other until they build an unshakable foundation. Your future self is being created right now by the habits you repeat today. And when you begin to trust this process, you stop looking for instant results and start building lasting ones. That is how small habits quietly outperform even the grandest goals. At the end of the day, greatness is not built in leaps, it is built in layers. Every small habit you practice, no matter how ordinary it feels, is shaping the person you are becoming. The path to success is rarely about speed. It is about endurance, and endurance is created through daily decisions that align with the vision you hold for your life. The mind often craves dramatic change, but psychology shows us that sudden, massive efforts are rarely sustainable. The brain resists extremes, but adapts to steady repetition. That is why small habits hold such incredible power. They slip beneath resistance, they bypass fear, and they gradually transform you without the weight of overwhelm. What feels insignificant today can redefine your entire tomorrow. Imagine the difference between someone who chooses to stay consistent with tiny actions and someone who chases only big goals. The first person may look slower at the start, but over time they build momentum that becomes unstoppable. The second often burns out, frustrated by the gap between their vision and their actions. The lesson is clear. Success belongs not to those who dream the biggest, but to those who build the smallest steps with consistency. This is your moment to choose. Will you wait for the perfect plan, Or will you begin with the simple habit right in front of you? The life you want is not hidden in some distant future. It is created in the ordinary choices you make today. Each small action is a vote for the person you want to become. And when those votes add up, they create a future that feels unstoppable. So remember this: big goals inspire, but small habits transform. If you want a new beginning, start with the step you can take now. Let your daily actions write the story of your greatness.